this week's video. Now last week was NAMM, the trade show, where lots of big companies announced lots of new exciting bits of gear. Now there are a few things caught my eye. The MXR Rockman pedal, which was based on the old headphone amp, that looked quite cool. There was also Marshall brought out a Plexi with some updated features, which looked very nice. But the thing that I really liked the look of was the Cory Wong, the Musicman Cory Wong Stingray 2. So I decided I wanted to do a video about this. I haven't played one, I haven't seen one. I don't even know if they've come into the UK yet. But first of all, before we go any further, I've done a little track inspired by some sort of Cory Wong style funk guitar, and I'm going to play this track now. And what I've done, because this is what this video is going to be about, humbuckers on a funk track, I've done the first bit on a Strat, that classic 4th position, and then I've done the second bit of it on my Les Paul, which is a 2 humbucker guitar like Cory's new Musicman. So pay particular attention to those 2 first choruses, the difference with how the Strat sounds, and then the Les Paul. And after that I've done some what I would consider to be more humbuckery type sounds over the same sort of thing. So check this out, hope you enjoy it. So there we are, there's the track, and that was really to highlight the difference between what a single coil pickup and a humbucker sounds like when playing funk, and I think there's a big difference there. I'm actually using Cory Wong's Neural DSP plugin to get that funk sound on the first 2 bits of that on the rhythm guitar part. So I think you can really hear the difference with what a Strat sounds like and a humbucker, and to me the Strat is far better. So when I saw this Stingray 2, I thought, do you know what? I really like the look of that guitar. I mean, it's a Strat style thing. I know the proportions are slightly different, but I think the whole thing is really proportioned well. It's aesthetically pleasing. There's been lots of guitars that have come out recently, particularly some of those Paul Reed Smiths, and there's just something that I don't find them aesthetically very pleasing. Partly that headstock, particularly on the John Mayer Strat, I still can't get used to that. And some of those sort of more Telecaster style ones, just something not quite proportioned right about them. But this Musicman I think looks really good. I really like the teardrop scratch plate. I like the 4 and 2 headstock that's slightly longer. I think the whole thing looks pretty cool. But then as I cast my eye down its slender neck to its shapely body, I noticed 2 massive great humbuckers and thought, what the heck is this? Cory Wong with 2 humbuckers. I thought, well, maybe they do various different versions, or maybe they're not really humbuckers, maybe they're single coils in humbucker clothing, or maybe they're coil tappable. They've done some clever thing to give you that 4th position sound, but no, this is a humbucker guitar. This is what Cory wants to expand his tonal palette, which will help him expand his artistry or something. Now, Cory's great. He's a great communicator. I really like his podcast. I think he's really good. I really enjoy listening to him interviewing people and stuff. And he's great at that funk thing. I mean, he's the hottest property, really, isn't he, on the guitar scene right now? And this is probably why Musicman wanted him to make a guitar. And so check out the video, if you haven't seen it yet, on the Musicman website of him playing this new guitar. He does really what he does, some kind of sort of funky thing, and he then does a higher gain thing, and then he does a kind of some jazzy cool thing, and then he does another funky thing. And if I'm being honest, to me, everything he plays, apart from maybe the higher gain thing, would sound far better on his Strat. Now, I was always a Strat man, like Cory, as he says on his video. But recently, relatively recently, considering how long I've been playing, I got myself, during lockdown, I got myself that 335, and I have to say I really enjoyed certain things about it. It was kind of inspired by, I really got into Tom Bukovac, and he was playing one like that on his homeschooling videos, which, because I wasn't gigging, I was spent a lot of time watching those and learning bits and pieces. So I got myself a 335, and when I got back gigging again, it took me quite a long time to get used to having that fat humbuckery sound, not having that nice thin transient you get from a single coil pickup for certain styles. Now, I've been using it now for, what was it, 4 years, is it? I can't remember when I bought it. And I've also now, my most recent guitar, I've done videos on this one, but I've bought myself a Les Paul as well. And now, actually, sometimes if I take one guitar to a gig, I will just grab one of those and I'll be perfectly happy for nearly everything except that funk thing, which is what Cory does all the time, or a lot of the time. I have got round it. Now I've put an EQ pedal on my board, and I've worked out a way of EQing some of the bottom end out, boosting the top end, and it gives you more of a single coil sound. It's not quite the same, but it's pretty good if you're doing that sort of funk disco stuff. If you want me to do a video on how I've done that, please let me know in the comments. Now, I think there's a good reason why the Strat is considered the ultimate funk guitar. I mean, I think you can get a similar sound on the Telecaster, the setting with the 2 pickups on together, but the ultimate sound really is that 4th position, the one that I think on the Cory Wong Strat, you've got a button that you can press, that the emergency 4th position button, because if I'm doing funk stuff, I will nearly always be on that setting, and it's something to do with the kind of scooped sound of it and the percussive transient. Now, you don't get that on a Les Paul. Let me play you again the little clips from my video, and so I think that's an easier way of trying to demonstrate it rather than explain it. But right, have a listen to this and try and listen to that sort of quacky, thwacky sound that the Strat's making. And now have a listen to what the Les Paul sounds like, and it's more of a, it's got far more bottom end, and it doesn't have the same attack because it's a more rounded sound, so somehow that treble isn't quite so. Have a listen, see what you think. For fear of sounding rather sceptical, I'm wondering whether Musicman approached Cory Wong, as everyone wants a slice of Cory, he's the hottest property, isn't he, and said, would you endorse a guitar? I mean, on that video at the end, Cory Wong says, shout out to Fender for letting me explore another guitar. But I expect Fender said, yes, you can do another guitar, but you can't do another Strat. You can't do a guitar like the one you've got. So Musicman have gone, well, what can we do then? Well, it's not a Strat if it's a Stingray. Why don't we stick some humbuckers on? Cory might have gone, well, I don't use humbuckers, but it would expand my tonal palette, I suppose. Now, I might be wrong if I tried one of these guitars. It might, you know, fill a niche that nobody knew existed. But for me, you know, if you wanted a guitar that you can kind of do funk on, a humbuckery guitar, then something like a 335 would be much better because of it, because it's hollow. It responds in a different way, and it is more percussive, actually, I think, certainly than my Les Paul. If I was going to pick one of those to play a funk gig on, then it would definitely be the 335 without question. And the other thing is, most Strat style 2 humbucker guitars, they tend to be heavy rock machines, don't know, like the sort of Ibanez's, those sort of Steve Vai guitars, or even like, and I reviewed one, the Guthrie Govan Charvel. I mean, they have normally have a middle pickup as well, but those guitars, certainly the Guthrie Govan one, you can coil tap it. It's got a sort of tremolo that won't go out of tune, whereas this Cory Wong guitar, it's got no coil tapping, and it's just got a sort of standard trem which you're not going to be dive bombing with, so it's not really even a rock machine. So it is quite specifically designed for, I'm not quite sure what. And whilst Cory says, you know, he wants to expand his tonal palette, I mean, I've never seen him play anything except a Strat, but it sounds to me a bit like, you know, if Stevie Ray Vaughan back in the day were to bring out a signature amp, you know, a high gain thing that gives him all the metal tones that he can't get out of his standard setup because it expands his tonal palette. But you wouldn't want to hear it, would you? And would he use it? No, I don't think so. So I'd be interested to see whether Cory does actually use this guitar live. So all that being said, I don't particularly like the sound of it on that video. It would sound much better on a Strat to me. But I really like the look of this guitar. So come on, Musicman, please bring out a single coil version of this. 3 single coils. Don't call it the Cory Wong one. You can call it something else, just a standard silhouette too. So I wonder, having read about some of these sort of marketing things that confectionery companies do, there's a chocolate bar in the UK called a Kit Kat. I don't know if you get that in America as well. And it's basically 4 fingers of chocolate covered biscuit that you can snap apart. Now what they did, they brought out a orange flavour. This might be wrong, but this is apparently what marketing companies sometimes do. They brought out an orange flavour, so people will go into the shop and go, oh, that's new, I've not seen an orange flavoured Kit Kat before. They buy an orange flavoured Kit Kat and they go, oh, that's not too bad. But it does remind me how good that the original Kit Kat was, and then they start buying the original Kit Kats. And apparently this is a way of boosting a product that's been around for a long time, to try and remind people about how good it was in the first place. So I wonder whether they brought out this guitar version of a Stingray with Cory's name on it that he has to have as a humbucker, and then at some point they're going to expand the range and have a nice single coil version, because I think I might buy one, although they are pretty expensive guitars. I think the deluxe version of it is nearly £4,000 in the UK. But anyway, I think I'd have one if it was single coil. So let me know what you think. Am I being overly sceptical? I mean, it looks like a really nice guitar. I had a bit of a hankering for one of the Ernie Ball Albert Lees, like the one he's playing there, after I went to see him a few months ago. I mean, I've played a few Ernie Ball guitars and they sound fantastic. Of course, the other one is the Van Halen one. If you can still get one, you have to get one used. Obviously, they don't make them anymore. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Hit like, hit subscribe as well if you want to. I bring out new videos at 7 PM UK time every Friday, so I hope to see you next week.